Hello, hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to talk about overlapping shapes. Okay, and here is an example of what your project could look like when you are done with it. First, to get started, I want you to get your supplies. You are going to need a piece of paper. You're going to need, if you're using Sharpie, you're going to need some papers underneath, like we talked about last week. And you're going to need something to trace. I'm going to use a little plastic cuppy here so it can give me the circle shapes like we see here. But you can use anything that you can find in your house. You could use the inside of a roll of tape. It doesn't have to be circle. You could use Post-it notes block and trace that. You could use the bottom of a mug or a cup. Whatever it is that you want to trace, it should be about the size of your palm, okay? If it's too big, there won't be enough shapes to fill the paper, and if it's too small, it'll just take a little bit too long to make. So, getting started. Overlapping shapes. There's something you should know about overlapping shapes. Let's talk about this right here. What are overlapping shapes? Okay. Overlapping shapes, if we look at this again, are shapes that show space, because we can see that one is in front of another shape. And then back here, there's another shape. Okay. Mine looks like a ball pit. You can see which is clearly on top and which is at the bottom of the pit. It's the same thing when we're talking about any kind of overlapping shape. We know which shape is on top because we can see the entire outline. Okay? So it should look something like this. This. We can tell that this is the shape in the front. And what I like to call this shape, the shape that's in the front, is the bossy shape, because it's in the front. It's in the front of the line. This works for squares as well, or any other shape, like I said earlier. What these are not are intersecting shapes. Okay? What I don't want to see is shapes that look see-through. That is not an overlapping shape, because you can't tell which shape is in the front and which shape is behind. I can do this with squares as well, or any other shape, really. I can't tell which is the shape that's in front. Okay, so let's get started. I want you to pick your tracing shape. Okay, like I said, it could be a pack of Post-its. It could be a little cuppy like I'm going to use. All right, and I want you to start with 5 shapes on your paper. Now, I'm drawing in Sharpie first, just so that my bossy shapes stand out. That's 1, 2. They can be close, but notice they're not touching. 3. 4. And let's put one bossy shape going off the edge of the paper. 5. Alright, now that I have all my bossy shapes, I'm going to switch back to a pencil just in case I make a mistake. I can always erase with a pencil. And here we go. I'm going to draw, you know what, I want a circle that's behind these 2 bossy circles. So I'm going to hold down, and I'm going to start at the top circle and pull my pencil down. I am going to stop once I get to that bottom bossy shape right here. I'm going to keep holding down my little circle, or my little cuppy here. Oops. I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to pull down. When I lift this up, yep, you can see that my 2 bossy shapes still look like they're in the front, and it looks like there is a circle behind them. Let's do this again. I'm going to start at the bossy shape, trace around my tracer shape, my cuppy, and I'm going to stop when I get to the bossy shape again. That's beautiful. And I'm going to keep going just like this. When you think you have the idea, that's when you might want to change over to a Sharpie marker, okay? Or a black marker, or a black crayon, or whatever it is that you have. Because it's much easier instead of having to go back and trace these later, okay? So we do want all these shapes to pop out. Okay, I'm going to keep on going. You take your time filling up your paper with your bossy shapes. Let's see. And remember, everybody's paper is going to look a little bit different, so you can't exactly copy me. Just take your time and make sure you're not drawing through your bossy shapes. Great. Now that I'm done filling up my paper with all my shapes, okay? I know which ones are in front, my bossy shapes. I know which ones are behind them. I'm going to take my crayons or my markers or whatever it is I have to color in. You can even use oil pastels or paints. And I'm going to color it in. I spread out the colors. I made sure that colors that are the same are really not touching each other. And I think it turned out fabulous. What do you think? Do you think that you know overlapping shapes now? I hope you did. It's something that we need to practice. Boys and girls, I'm glad you had fun. Go on and